love you forever, forever. I wanna love you. Will you let me love you forever, forever and a day, 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 day.
Happy Friday. Woo! Did y'all make it through the week? I had a crazy week, y'all. So I know normally we do Normally we do Darcey and Stacey earlier in the week. Just had some things going on, so I'm excited to talk about it because I have all the things to say. We're going to do housekeeping as normal, first and foremost, and then we're going to jump into the show. Wherever you're watching, just hit that like, thumbs up real quick. That'd be very helpful to me. Support the show. That's all I'm going to say today. Support the show. And I'm going to shout out the people that are supporting the show and allow this to happen. So Olivia, Vanessa, Trisha, Sandra, Carol, Trina, Danielle, Rebecca, Marianne, Judy, Beth, Nia. Happy belated birthday, Nia. I hope you had an amazing one. Is that still Leo season? Raydella, Linda, Brianna, Crystal, Nicole, Amanda. We miss you, Amanda. Jolisa and Donna over at Anchor FM. Appreciate you guys. Listen, I have a lot to say about this episode, okay? Darcey and Stacey, season 2, episode 4, lies and ex-wives. There are definitely a lot of lies going on here, and I feel for Darcey, you guys, because, you know, you would think third time's the charm, which really is like fourth time's the charm because she's been married before, right? But these past 3 boyfriends, I'm not sure if Georgie's it. Like, what do you guys think? Do you guys think Georgie's it? So they had drinks the night before with his friends. It was a hot mess. And they wake up in the morning and the tracks in their hair are a hot mess. Like, y'all know I get distracted by things. And I'm trying to understand if I'm going to watch a whole season of Darcey and Stacey with messed up tracks in their hair. And I'm all about the extensions, y'all. I'll wear an extension in a minute. So I'm trying to find out, like, okay, so you didn't catch it that first episode. You didn't catch it that second episode. Third episode, you let it go buck wild. And now I'm on the 4th episode and we're still not telling these girls that, hey, listen, someone needs to just go ahead and like pull that comb and the brush and a flat iron through your hair and get those hairs blended. I'm trying to figure out why hair, makeup, production, why none of them told these 2 ladies that there's a lot going on there. Hot mess. So Darcey wants answers. She needs more answers. She wants to know who the real Georgi is. And she wants to talk to his ex-wife. And she wants to talk to her immediately. And, you know, Stacey's all for it. They want to get to the bottom of things. Florian's kind of not for it. He's saying, like, hey, listen, you're not going to get anything from the ex-wife because she's just going to protect herself, right? She's going to look out for herself. That's it. That's all. And I kind of could see his point of view because really when you go to an ex, and especially if it was like a bitter breakup, they're not going to say anything great, right? They're just going to say, this person. And maybe they're harboring some resentment. Maybe, you know, they still love the person, all the things. But that's not what happened with Octavia. But I could definitely see where Florian was coming from. And I have to tell you, in all the seasons, I know there's only been 2, but we've met Florian on 90 Day Fiancé briefly. This is probably the most entertaining I've seen him. Like, his little personality is starting to come out. I don't know if it's because he is feeling more comfortable in front of the camera. Maybe his English is getting better. I don't know, whatever it is, I'm liking it, right? Because he's taking a stance. Normally he's like super dry and just like, right? But now he's like, yeah, listen, whatever it is, I want Darcey to be happy. I got Darcey's back. And I was like, yes, Florian, yes. Hey, Tanya. Hey, girl. Hey. Hey, Angelica. Hey, girl. Hey. Hey, Misha. Happy Friday. So Darcey's sitting all sad on her bed and she just feels numb. She's second guessing the relationship. She doesn't know what she wants. She's in the stare off with Georgi. And Georgie's like, I don't know what the problem is. Like, I don't know what I did wrong. All I wanted to do was hang out with my friends, have some drinks, have a good time. And it kind of blew up in my face and everyone's attacking me. And he doesn't see what the issue is. He feels like whatever he does, it's always wrong, according to Darcey. Darcey's like, well, you know, I just didn't feel loved. I didn't feel respected. And I just need to own my own self-worth. And I was like, okay, let's just rewind this a little bit. If you don't feel loved, then why are you engaged to this man? If you don't feel respected, then why are you continuing to fund the relationship? And then if you want to own your own self-worth, I mean, that's self-explanatory, right? Self-worth. How is it? Like, I was just confused by that. And I literally wrote it down. I was like, well, there's some things you can do, Darcey, to change the situation if you're not happy with it. And if you don't feel loved, don't be in the relationship. If he's not respecting you, don't fund the relationship. And if you don't have self-worth, then anyway, she doesn't want to talk about it. She just wants to go to bed because she's drained, she's numb, and she just wants to like leave it alone for the night. We see Georgi leave. And we find out that the ex responded to her DM and said, hey, listen, wow, sure thing. I'll answer any questions to the best of my knowledge. That's what she says. And Darcey's just like, I just want to know if he's hiding something. I'm nervous to know like what she's going to say, but like, I just want to know if he's hiding something. And my whole thing, you guys, with relationships is this, like, there's so many things that I have issue with or I take issue with. First and foremost, if you're in a relationship with someone and you can't talk to them and there's no communication, no other outside opinion is going to help you. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's the two of you in your relationship. And I know it's different for twins, right? Because you're very, very close to your twin. But like, at the end of the day, it's Darcey and Georgi in the relationship. And if she can't come to her man who she says she wants to marry and who she says is her lifelong partner, you got engaged to him and you can't talk to him, but you're going to talk to Florian, you're going to talk to Stacey, and now you're going to talk to Octavia, and yet you can't talk to your man. And when you feel like you are talking to your man, he doesn't give you any answers, then I'm just thinking that maybe you should reevaluate whether you should marry this person. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. So she's getting ready for bed. She takes up all her makeup. She takes off her glasses, her eyelashes. And the other thing that I thought was interesting was that Stacey was going to bed. And Stacey just like, she put a little water right here, you guys. And then she was like, put in her nightie on, which was gorgeous, by the way. But then she had a full-on makeup in the bed. You don't take your lashes off at night? Do you all? Like, who wears lashes here? I would love to wear lashes. I just suck at them. And I try and I try and I try, but like, I just, whatever. If it's like a super crazy good occasion, then I'll take the time. But like, it's just too much work. I was just, and so then like, you got to give your like lashes a break. Like, how do you wear them unless they're the permanent ones or semi-permanent or whatever they are? I just like pull those strips off. Anyways, they go to bed. It's the next morning. Darcey's still upset and Georgi's still upset. There's a silent je ne sais quoi going on. And so she wants to get to the bottom of it. And we find out that Octavia is willing to meet with them. So she's going to lie to her fiance, and Stacey's going to lie to her husband and say they're going shopping. Again, you know, if we're talking about communication issues, we're talking about like trust and all of that. I don't know if one is better than the other. Like you're confronting his ex because you feel like he's not opening up to you, but then you're lying to his face, saying you're doing one thing when you're like, I don't know. Again, if this is the person that you say you want to marry, then there might be some communication issues here and some trust issues. Because he can say the same thing Like, you sat there and lied to my face, said you were going shopping. If there was an earthquake in Virginia, random, or like whatever, if there's something happening, a national disaster, and he thinks you're at the mall, but meanwhile you're like, come on, you guys, like, trust goes both ways. So they have this really awkward breakfast, and Stacey's trying to talk to him like, hey, listen, I apologize if you felt some type of way about yesterday, but we just had some questions and you got all defensive and you were like you're deflecting on Florian, and that wasn't okay. And we should just all be one big happy family. And I was like, well, technically, I mean, again, it's a little tricky with the twin thing. Yeah, you guys are family, but like, you don't have to necessarily be in each other's relationships, right? So what makes me uncomfortable is, if Darcey and Georgi can't talk amongst themselves privately, why does every single conversation they have about the relationship have to be in front of her sister and her sister's husband? It is kind of intimidating. And you know what? I'm not taking Georgi's side by any means, because I think there's some shade going on there 100%. But I would feel attacked. It's the three of you talking crazy to me, whether I'm doing something wrong or not. I'm in a relationship with this person. Why are the three of you in this relationship? It can never end well. It just can never end well. So Stacey apologizes, but she's trying to just understand his life and who he is. And I'm like, okay, that's great that you want to understand him and understand his life, but his fiance should be the one that wants to understand everything. And whether you do or not, you're not the one that's in a relationship with him. So Georgi says, yeah, I feel attacked. He doesn't feel like he has to share his relationship with them, which I 100% agree with. You can be family, but I don't have to share my relationship with you. You don't have to know the ins and outs. I'm not dating you or you. I'm dating you. And he's like, listen, y'all up in my business saying I should be doing this and this and this and this, and you guys have your own problems. Focus on your own problems. Stay in your own lane. Can't be mad at him for saying that, because those are facts too. Michelle, hey girl, hey. Michelle says they all act like they're in one big relationship together. Exactly. And you're not. This is not. What is it? What would a four-way relationship even be called? I don't even know. Thruple, I don't even know. Anyhow. Darcey's like, you know what? I feel like you think everyone owes you something and that you're out for yourself. And again, my question to Darcey is, if you feel that way, why do you continue to fund his lifestyle? And if you feel like he's out for himself, why do you continue to fund his lifestyle? I don't understand it. So you can't just like complain in a relationship. You have to look at what your role is. You can't be a victim all the time. Do you know what I mean? Especially when you can do something about it. Like, you guys, come on. So, awkward breakfast. Florian and Georgi go to work out. And Florian's pissed at Georgi, right? He's pissed because Florian's like, listen, we have a different situation. It's like day or night. How dare you compare your situation to my situation? How dare you say Stacey is paying for everything and supporting me, which she is. But on Florian's defense, he has been in the US for less than a year. She is his sponsor. He can't work until he gets his green card. So technically, he's her responsibility. Now, if Georgi wants to compare the two, it's two different things. I agree with Florian. It's totally different because Georgi's been here for 10 years. He's been in the US for 10 years, you guys. So in 10 years, you would think that he would have established something and maybe, made some connections, been able to do a little something with his life. So you can't then say you guys are on equal planes because this dude hasn't even been here a year and you've been here 10 years. It's different. And Angelica says, Florian has done more to be responsible than Georgi. Facts. And Michelle says, I agree with what Georgi said. If she's not happy, she should leave. She's clearly unhappy with him. So they're at the gym. They do this like 2-minute workout. They both like to look fit, and they both pre-quarantine were working out, you know, every day. And so they're happy to get back to the gym, right? Great. So then Florian confronts Georgi and is like, you know, our situations are different. How dare you try to throw me under the bus? You know, you've been here for so long. I just got here. And, you know, Darcey just wants to be loved. And the way you treated her was pretty shitty. Those are my words, but that's how I interpreted it. And Georgi thinks he hasn't done anything wrong. He's like, I don't understand what I did wrong. Like, what did I do wrong? If I did something wrong, then I didn't mean it that way. But I still don't see what I did wrong. And so Georgi's like, well, you know, I love her, right? Because Florian's like, okay, are you in it for the right reasons? And he's like, you know, who else from her past would quarantine with her for a year? Who's lived with her for a year? I love her and I want to be with her. Okay, but those aren't really facts. Those aren't really like supporting facts, Georgi. Just because you quarantine and you live together, you live there for free. You quarantined because you couldn't go anywhere because we were in a world pandemic. So that doesn't prove to me that you actually love anyone. It just proves to me that you had nowhere to go since you left your job and your room with your roommates. And you know what's not clear, you guys? Here's what's not clear to me. So he was married to Octavia, but he lived with roommates. Like or did he move and live with roommates after they got separated? I'm going to need them to clarify that because they have not clarified it yet. And I need to know why no one met her before. Hey girl, hey. Hey Diana, hey girl, hey. I'm trying to figure that out, right? I'm trying to figure that whole thing out because it doesn't make any type of sense to me. So you left your room and your massage therapy job, went to Connecticut, lived in the big old house, which, mind you, is Mike's house before you guys moved to the apartment. Gotcha. So then they have this like weird little, I don't know, like filler. It kind of takes me out of like whatever the storyline is. But, you know, Grandpa Mike is taking Aniko and Aspen car shopping because Aniko's turning 16. She wants a new car. She's looking at this beautiful blue Jeep. She gets in the car, but she doesn't test drive the car. And is that because she hasn't turned 16 yet? Like, I need some clarification there as well. Like, what's happening here? You probably, hey, Crystal, hey, girl, hey. You probably want to go and get your license first and then go car shopping. But, like, whatever. Go and look at cars because you're excited, I suppose. But it feels like it was just a bit of waste of time. So she likes the big tires, the big truck. She wants to like customize it, all the stuff. And I agreed with Grandpa Mike, like go and get a job. Go get a job because you're going to feel more responsible. You're going to feel like you contributed. And you know what a great thing would be? Like you match half and I'll match half. You'll be good to go. But what I'm not about to do is just buy you a car just because you're turning 16. Right? And then we find out that Darcey and Stacey, their first car was a Volkswagen, but Dad didn't think they really appreciated it because they didn't have to work for it. And so I think now with the grandkids, he's going to be a little bit more like, hey, I'm going to need you to do this in order for me to do that, which makes sense to me. It does. It makes sense to me. Now, we go back to Darcey and Stacey, and I have a question for you. It's not a question that I put up as a poll, just a question. If you're watching the replay, you can comment in the comments below. Live chat, you can comment there. But is it just me or Darcey and Stacey looking less like twins, like identical twins? I keep looking at them like, before I could never tell them apart. Now I can completely tell them apart because I don't think they look similar. Like they look similar, but they don't look identical to me. Angelica said, the comment about the big tires just because it's cool, quote. The engineer in me got triggered. Triggered good. That's funny. So yeah, I feel like they look less twinsy. It's weird. It's like you can definitely see something different. Something different. So Darcey's questioning, does Georgi truly love me? Does he want to be with me for the future and for a lifetime? Or is he just using me for my money? And I'm like, okay, but these are the questions you want to ask the ex. And I'm curious to know how the ex is going to know the answer to those questions. Right? Like, how is she going to know? She's not in your relationship. You should know. You should know how he makes you feel. And you should know by how he treats you. So Octavia is the ex-wife, guys. And I wanted, okay, so I don't know. I should do this part. I'll do this part first. So y'all, Octavia is gorgeous. She's gorgeous. Octavia is really, really a beautiful girl. Her name is Octavia Bellinger, and she's actually has been Miss District of Columbia Cosmos 2021. So she's like a pageant girl. And here's what I didn't know, you guys, which I think is huge. It's huge. And it's huge because I want to know what else Georgi is hiding. So here's what we know about Octavia. And here's a little tea for y'all. So according to starsoffline.com, Octavia Bellinger and Georgi Restov met each other in 2016, 2017 at a modeling event. So what does that mean, you guys? Well, that means that Georgi was dipping his toes in the whole modeling sphere, just like Florian. So remember last week when I was like, well, what job are you going to get? Because you're like a masseuse. Clearly, he wants to be a model. He just hasn't said it aloud. At least to our knowledge, he hasn't said it aloud. But apparently, they met at a modeling event. At the time, this is the most important part, you guys. At the time, Georgi had a daughter from another relationship, but was separated. Let me just put that off for a second. Georgi has a kid. Georgi has a kid from a previous relationship, not this ex, Octavia, who's his ex-wife. Did y'all know that? Because that's huge. So, at the time, Georgi had a daughter from another relationship, but was separated. Since they clicked instantaneously, they started dating each other for 6 or 7 months. The couple stayed married for 3 years before their marriage fell apart. So they were married for 3 years, you guys. The sweet and blissful romance from the beginning faded away after a while, and they started visiting the old problems and arguments. By the time Georgi had moved in with Darcey, Octavia and Georgi were separated. But the divorce of the couple hadn't been finalized yet, 2021, which is why he still rented a room in DC. The court date for divorce was pushed away because of the COVID-19. Now, here's the thing, you guys. Here's the thing. Not only did we not know that he had a kid from a previous relationship, but he lied. He said his divorce was finalized. What this is confirming, which is confirmed in this episode, is that the courts were closed. In 2021, it hadn't been finalized yet. We're still in 2021, and this was filmed last year. So lies. He's a liar. Lies. Blown away. So, all the feelings that Darcey is having, all the angst that she's having, it's for a reason, y'all. It's for a specific reason. So they meet the ex-wife, and I feel like I should just pop her photo back up just because. So we meet the ex-wife, you guys, and Darcey says, hey, listen, we've got a lot going on. It's important to me to have this meeting with you. I'm very grateful. Thank you. But I have questions. So Octavia comes across great. She's like, hey, listen, you know what? I didn't come here to bash Georgi. And I feel like as women, we need to give other women grace and we need to support each other. And I'm all about that. Let's empower each other. It doesn't have to be, a contentious situation. No one has to be bashed, but being informed is quite important. And knowledge is power, guys. So she's like, by she, I mean Darcey. Darcey's like, anytime I ask questions and Octavia finishes the sentence, says he shuts down. And she's like, yes. Cold demeanor. He ignores me. I feel like I walk on eggshells. All the things. Octavia already knew that. She knew that was his personality. And then Darcey's like, I know I'm older, but I've spent a lot of money on him. And, he has a sense of entitlement and it really bothers her. And then we find out from Octavia that his roommates in his room in DC that he used to rent used to call him Princess because he always had to have his own way, which is what we heard Darcey and Stacey and even Florian say. So that hasn't changed. And then Darcey says, he just takes and takes and takes. I bought him clothes. They get into the birthday story, and the birthday story is totally pissed off Stacey. Stacey gets all riled up because she wanted to be in there shopping with her sister on her birthday. And instead, they bought the faux fur jacket that we saw in this episode for Georgi instead of, other things for Stacey and Darcey. Now, on the flip side, Georgi doesn't see it like that. Georgi's like, well, on Darcey's birthday, I spent $1,000 that I didn't have. I'll put it on my credit card. That showed that I loved her. Did you, though? Did you? Because who then pays the credit card because you have no money because you have no job? Right? Just like I want to know that engagement ring that we all saw last season, big sparkle. Who bought that? Was that on a credit card too? And then who's making the payments? I have questions. So anyways, Darcey's upset. She's like, in the last few months alone, I've spent $50,000 on Georgi between trips and furniture, the move, Miami, New York. And you know what Octavia says, which is absolutely 100% true. She's like, you know what? It sounds to me like Darcey is funding his lifestyle, and Darcey should literally tell his ass no. Isn't that what I've been saying? If you are not happy with the situation, if you are not happy funding this guy's lifestyle, then stop funding it. Even your dad said you enable him because you enable him to live this way. Gotcha. So then here's what I want to also talk about, you guys. Here's what I want to talk about. And guys who watch my news and gossip, you already know this. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but I'm going to inform all y'all as well. And if you need me to bring my receipts, I will. But Darcey asked, which was a perfect time in my melanated opinion, that they could have addressed this, but they didn't. But I'm going to address it. So Darcey asked if he has a type. And Octavia says his girlfriends before were black. So before her, who's black, he dated a black model. He also dated Octavia's friend, who also happens to be black. She says that he's only dated one non-black, but that lady was older and had money. Now, I don't know if this is going to come to as a shock to you all, but I've known this for a long time. Do you guys know that Darcey and Stacey are mixed with African, black? Darcey and Stacey are, in Cape Verde terms, because that's what they still call each other, is mulatto. Did y'all know that? And if you look at her dad, you would know that. So am I saying she's like half black, or the twins are half black, half white? No, but they're like a quarter black, or maybe more than a quarter, but they do have black in them. So because of all like Don't get me started. I'm just saying, I don't know why they didn't address it. They might not be dark skinned like me or Octavia, but they have black in them. So clearly he's still dating within the realm of what his quote unquote type is. So let's not play around. So then Octavia says, she was doing taxes one day. Yeah, Vanessa, I was wondering why they didn't say anything either, because it would have been a perfect example and opportunity to let everyone know. But I have a theory on that, and I'm not going to go into it all, but I know some things because I know some things because I know some things. So anyways, Octavia's doing their taxes and comes across the Sugar Mama website, and she just put that out there. Darcey was taken aback by it. And the marriage ended, she said, because they were fights. He wasn't being accountable to the relationship. And basically, he wasn't there for her when she needed him. And here was the kicker, which you find out, which I just showed you guys with this slide that I'll pop up just in case you're just joining us. So she said she hasn't received anything in the mail as far as the divorce papers. So Stacey's like, are you guys still married? And she's like, yeah, I guess, unfortunately. And then she says to camera that Darcey is being taken advantage of, which is clear, you guys. She is being taken advantage of. She's being lied to. However, she's doing a little bit of lying herself, right? But she's being lied to. And, she's the sugar mama. She doesn't want to be the sugar mama, but de facto, he went on the sugar mama site. He dated an older lady before because she had money. He quit, and I use quit very loosely, you guys. I use it loosely because you had a massage table. So really you didn't quit, because you could have just brought your massage table to Connecticut. You couldn't work because there was a pandemic. But then you didn't have really a plan to do anything else because of whatever, right? So now, between the Sugar Mama website, dating an older lady that had money, and now Darcey is older than him and has money, if there's a pattern, there's a pattern. So Octavia doesn't say it to her face, but Octavia definitely thinks that she's been taken advantage of. And so you can already tell that Stacey is just not a fan of Georgi. So they're going to decide that they're going to go confront Georgi tonight. Now they drive back, they go to some seafood place, and they're going to confront Georgi. As they walk in, you guys, I just died of laughter. Georgi's sitting there with his faux fur jacket that she bought him, sitting back, having drinks, and sitting like a princess, Stacey said, having oysters, living it up. He's feeling hot, so he takes off his jacket real quick. And then Darcey sits down, and Darcey does what Darcey does, right? So she starts very passive aggressively. And again, it's the four of them, which I feel again, the conversation should just be conversations between you and your partner. Why does it have to be a group thing all the time? Diana says, I think Georgi is not with her for the money. I don't even think Darcey's very wealthy. It's camera airtime, same she is doing. Nope, Diana, Darcey actually indeed is very wealthy. I talked about that in News and Gossip. Darcey has money. Darcey has money, period, y'all. Sorry. Darcey has money. So I think might be a combination of, hey, let's be famous, because we all know that the twins try to do a reality show way back 20 years ago or whatever. So I think part of it is, the notoriety of being on a reality show, but Darcey has money. No one be fooled. The twins have money. But Darcey does what Darcey does, and she's being passive aggressive in front of everyone instead of having a one-on-one conversation with her man. And she's like, they're eating oysters. He feeds her an oyster. And then she's like, do you love me? And he says, of course. Do you like me as a person? Do you respect me? Are you married? Are you actually divorced? Did you get divorce papers? And he's like, well, I'm not going to tell you that I'm divorced if I'm not divorced. And then she's like, well, are you? And he's like, I'm divorced. That's a stupid question. And then she's like, well, have you seen a final decree? And no answer. No answer to that. And then so she says, I saw Octavia today, lays it all out there, and he gets mad. He's like, you know what? You are looking for the wrong, you are looking under the wrong rock, he says. He's like, how is she ever going to tell you anything? That's like me going to Tom or Jess, which we know we're going to see on this season. You guys, they're not going anywhere. We know we're going to see them. But he's like, yeah, that's like me going to your exes, Tom or Jess, and asking them about you. Do you think that we're going to ever hear, or I'm going to ever hear good things? We're not, because that's your ex. So you're barking up the wrong tree, he thinks. And then Darcey asks about sugar mamas, right? And then he acts like he doesn't know what a sugar mama is. So Stacey tries to explain it. Even Florian tries to explain it. He's like, you're in America, you know what a sugar mama is. And he's like, well, what is a sugar mama? Like, what do they do? Is it just because they're older? I don't understand. How does that work? Georgi, stop playing. Okay? Stop playing. And so Darcey starts like getting all sad. She's like, all I'm looking for is love and trust and honesty and truth. And, you're not being truthful to me. And I can't understand it. And I just don't think I can be with, I just don't. And then she takes off her ring and she's like, I am ready for my forever love. And I don't think you're ready. Well, it's not that he's not ready. It's that you're finding out after you got engaged that you don't know who your fiance is. So my question is, why get engaged? A, when you already knew he wasn't married, or he was still married, until you saw the paperwork. That's on you as well, right? Because you said yes. You said yes. And then he lied, and you found out today that Octavia hasn't seen any final paperwork or hasn't been given any final paperwork. It takes two to be engaged. So there's that. You guys, woo, craziness. Now, I don't know. I think I told you guys about this before, but I watch the behind the scenes on Discovery Plus, and the behind the scenes, you really get to know these two, like Darcey and Stacey. Now, again, I'm going to say they look totally different. I don't think in the episodes we've come to the point where they've changed something, you guys, because in the behind the scenes, they look totally different, like totally different. I'm trying to figure out what it is, but they just look totally different. Anyways, from behind the scenes, here are some of the things that, if you haven't seen it, are some fun facts. So Stacey says that she speaks 3.5 languages. She says she speaks Serbian because her kids are half Serbian. She speaks English, she speaks French, and she kind of speaks Albanian. And then Darcey looks at her and says, are you sure you speak them fluently? Which I thought was hilarious. Then they did a little tit for tat. They were like, comment ça va? Like 2 little words here or there, which doesn't mean you speak the language, just FYI. But they did that little tit for tat, which I think is funny, that little sibling rivalry that those two have. And then the second thing, when we saw Stacey driving the truck, I remember telling you guys last week that one of the behind the scenes is Darcey had to practice with the producer to drive the truck. Well, the same thing with Stacey. She felt very uncomfortable driving it. It was just too big for her. And on their way to meet up with Octavia, she got lost. And she drove so far, she went all the way to the airport. They had to turn around and come back. And so I thought that was funny. And last and certainly not least fun fact is Georgi. Anytime they go out to dinner, so the group of them go out to dinner, Georgi always splurges and he indulges. So by the time they arrived, he had already ordered drinks, oysters. And the thing about the oysters, you guys, is Georgie's the only one that likes oysters. Florian doesn't like them. Darcey and Stacey don't like them. So he does it to be like highfalutin. And even when we heard we didn't hear it because we saw it in the extras. When the server came over and said, oh, we have this, this, and this, he asked like, oh, well, where are your oysters from? What kind are they? So he overindulges. And so there was oysters, there was ribeyes, the whole 9 yards. And they say, Darcey and Stacey say, the only reason he does that is because he knows he's not paying. Y'all, if Darcey and Stacey are going to say that to camera, then you obviously know that his intentions are not right. If you know that he's overindulging because he knows that he's not paying and he still does it anyways, and he orders things that he can't even share with anyone else because they don't like it, what does that say? What does that say? I mean, if you have questions, I have questions why you have questions, because he's being clear with his actions. Okay. If you're going to take him on shopping trips, if you're going to pay for all the bills, if you're going to allow him to not tell you anything about himself and continue to lie to in your face, and then continue to still just pay for things and then be like whiny about it, then that's on you. That's how I feel. If you're unhappy with the situation, change it. Hey, Flower. Flower says, Georgie is so shady and entitled. Listen, so here's my prediction. So that was the show. Here's my prediction, you guys. And it just came to me this episode. I don't think that Georgie and Darcey are going to make it. I think that there are more secrets that are going to spill out. And, you know, one of them being that he's still married. One of them being that he has a kid. How do you not mention that you have a kid, even if the kid lives somewhere else? How do you not mention that? How does that not come out in passing? Okay. You hid your ex-wife. No one met her. What was that about? Is that a green card marriage? Like, what was that about? They were together for 3 years. How does someone not meet your wife and she not come in conversation for 3 years? And then no one knew that you moved to Connecticut. None of your friends knew you moved. You just disappeared. So I think, Flower Power, thank you. She says, hello, I'm new to this channel and I love it. Thank you for being part of the community. I love having you guys here. So here's my thing, you guys. I think that it's all going to spill out. So I think with Stacey and Florian, it's about them trying to have a baby this season. And I think with Darcey and Georgie, it's going to be the unraveling of their relationship. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for joining me on this Friday. Have a happy, happy weekend. And I'll see you guys back here on Monday. And for my Patreon subscribers, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we are doing all the news and gossip. So I'll see you a little bit later. Bye for now. Oh, Lori, you came late. You came late to the party. Georgie has a kid. Georgie has a kid from a previous relationship. And the wife, Octavia, they're still married 2021. You're definitely going to have to watch the beginning of the show to get all the deets. It's all good. Welcome, Lori. Welcome. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you on Monday. Patreon subscribers, I will see you in a couple hours. Bye for now.